So Retroid has just released its latest emulation device. This is the Retroid Pocket Flip. And for the most part, this is exactly what everyone expected when they first saw that early announcement video and specifications for the device. This is essentially a repackaged Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. At least on paper, that's what it seems anyway. After a few weeks of playing around with the Flip, I was convinced that this may be the best retro handheld money could buy currently, and even started my initial review with that initial premise. Midway through the review, however, I had to flip the script. Let's talk about it. This is my review of the Retroid Pocket Flip. So let's talk about the specifications. But before I do that, let's revisit something I mentioned in the intro. This device right here is the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. It was released about 6 months ago by the same company that released this right here, the Flip. Both the Flip and the 3 Plus come with the same processor, the Tiger T618, the same CPU and GPU. They come with the same 4 gigs of LDDR4 RAM and I think 128 gigs of eMMC storage in both of these. They both have a really good 4.7-inch IPS display as well, running at 1334 by 750. The only major difference between these two right here is that the Flip comes with 5,000 mAh battery versus the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus coming with a 4,500 mAh battery. So real world use when it comes down to what's important, which is retro gaming, these are both capable of doing the same thing. They can both play all your retro handhelds up to PSP perfectly. They can even do some GameCube and some PS2 as well. So why would somebody spend $5 or $10 more to get the Flip over the 3 Plus? That's a good and fair question, but I think a better question is, why would you pick a clamshell design over a candy bar? So let's talk about the design of the Flip itself. But before I focus on the specifics of the device, let's talk about clamshell design in general and the inherent advantages and disadvantages clamshells have over traditional candy bar handhelds. First is portability. The fact that the screen folds over the controls just lends the design to being far more compact overall. The size and shape itself makes it almost as portable as one of my favorite portable handhelds, the RG353M, despite it being way more powerful, having a larger screen, and having a bigger battery. Second is protection. Again, because this handheld folds onto itself, you don't really have to worry too much about damaging the two most vulnerable areas of the console, the screen and the controls. And finally, the screen angle. Being able to move the screen to any comfortable viewing angle is a huge advantage. You can lay this on a table or while holding it, angle the screen to whatever is the most comfortable. Now, while there are many disadvantages to clamshells, the major one that really stands out for most people is the potential of a fragile hinge. Anytime there is something that opens and closes several thousand times over its lifetime, there is going to be some wear and tear. Both my original 3DS and my GPD XD eventually ended up with broken hinges. But this really isn't usually an issue for several years. Usually.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
So I'm going to address the elephant in the room right off the bat. This broken hinge, and more generally, the build quality of the Retroid Pocket Flip. Now, prior to the hinge breaking, I would have said that the quality of the Retroid Pocket Flip was really, really good. In fact, I thought it was amazing. Now, keep in mind, I've only had the Flip for about 2 weeks, and I have been fairly gentle with it overall. And while this may be caused by a defective shell or maybe an issue with only the limited edition, there really isn't any way for me to know for sure. And since this is the only unit I have for testing, I have to say that in my opinion, the build quality overall is pretty shit. Okay, that might be a little harsh. Okay, you see, prior to this little hinge gate here, I had a video which was nearly completed praising many aspects of the Retroid Pocket Flip. I noted things like the nice responsive D-pads and the clicky face buttons, especially for 2D fighters. I also mentioned how nice it was to see these new analog triggers included in the build. I praised the 4.7-inch display that turns out to be really good for daytime and nighttime gaming. I even loved these analog sliders, which turns out to be surprisingly good. And not just for analog sliders, they're just good. Period. There were only a few minor issues I noted, mainly the placement of the start and select buttons and how tiny they were, and also the inclusion of the unnecessary fan and M1 and M2 buttons, but the exclusion of a home and back button. But I can't have you sit through that now because, let's face it, we both know how this is going to end.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I don't even know you, but I hate you too.
Obviously, I cannot recommend the Retroid Pocket Flip, and that's really disappointing for me to say, because for the past 2 weeks, this had become my favorite handheld. Look, this may very well be the case of a defective unit, but there seems to be a growing number of posts on Reddit with users with similar situations to what I experienced here, so keep an eye on that if you do go ahead with this purchase. I encourage you to check out Shane Craig's video who covers this as well. If you're looking for an alternative to the Flip, I would highly recommend you take a look at this, the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. You're getting very similar performance in a candy bar form factor, and really you wouldn't be disappointed in this one. I will end the video here with an emulation showcase if you're still interested in the performance of the Flip. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one.